Battle of the Network shows. Join Rick Brooks and Mike Kogel as they explore the TV of the 70s and 80s through hand-picked episodes of their favorite and not-so-favorite series. Welcome to another episode of Battle of the Network shows, one of our bonus episodes, and we're going to do something a little different this time. We're going to do our first list episode.
Ooh, lists.
Yes.
Lists are popular on the internet.
Lists are popular on the internet. We are on the internet, so ergo, this will be popular.
Right. And of course, you can just click on this list and read it. Wait, no.
Yeah. Well,
it's
this
an
is
audio list.
Yeah, so we don't have a slideshow of pictures here.
No.
But we encourage you to listen along, and if you have your own list, feel free to send it to us, and maybe you'll agree with our choices, maybe you won't, but we're going to do a ranking of, this is very subjective, this is our favorite TV chefs or cooks. So we each come up with a list of 5. We have not consulted, so there might be some crossover, some duplication.
Sure.
But we have not consulted in any way, so we're giving each other our list for the first time, correct?
And these can be real or fictional.
Correct.
From shows or commercials, anywhere in our era.
Yes, so we're trying to keep it to our time frame, but other than that, pretty much anything goes, I would say. If they appeared on TV, they are eligible for this list.
Okay, I'll start with my number 5.
Yes, please do.
The cheeseburger guy.
Ooh.
From SNL.
Oh, excellent choice. Excellent choice. He was not on my list at all.
I remember seeing the sketch and enjoying it.
Yes.
That's about all I have. It was Belushi, correct?
Yes.
For being in my top 5, I should know more about him. But,
yes, the Olympia restaurant, I believe, was the name of the restaurant.
Right.
No Coke, Pepsi.
That's right.
So they had a limited menu.
Cheeseburgers and
yes.
Pepsi.
But I'll bet they were good burgers.
I bet they were.
So that is an excellent choice.
Wasn't there a chain named after them for a while?
Yes.
Like recently, not
I think it might still be around.
Oh, okay.
They're called Cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And probably not anyone close enough to us to even bother asking.
I think there was one maybe near Dulles or something at some point, but
interesting.
We'll have to look into that.
If anybody's listening,
yeah,
I'd love to try it. I've never been.
No,
I would certainly welcome the chance.
Right. I remember someone talking about it, and it definitely sounded like it had a few more items on the menu.
Ah, okay. So you could get.
Yeah, it maybe still be Pepsi, which is a little disappointing. But I remember talk of a milkshake.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah. Or maybe it's a milkshake.
It could be, yes.
Or a milk cake.
Milk cake.
Yeah, I don't know how you could...
well, as long as it hits the spot.
Yeah.
You can call it what you want. That's an excellent choice. I like that.
Okay.
Okay, my number 5. We're ready for my number 5?
Yeah.
This one is not. I don't know a lot about this one, but I have reasoning for picking it. It's Charlie from Sesame Street.
Oh, he was going to be on my list.
Oh, okay. Yes, the proprietor of the restaurant where the hapless, is it Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Comes and continually gets thwarted by Grover.
Grover, yeah, and you never see Charlie.
You don't. I never saw Charlie.
No, I don't think he ever.
True,
you
okay.
just hear Grover's. Hey, Charlie. Yeah.
He's an off-camera presence, but my reasoning is that if this guy comes back to the restaurant over and over again, the food must be worth it, right? To endure with such terrible service.
Yeah, you would think. I mean, he's constantly having flies in his soup, and it's cold. Food's cold, and just. I mean, I think maybe that he just keeps giving it a chance, and of course, later he would go to other places, and Grover would be the employee there.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a food situation, but always a situation, and Mr. Johnson or as the puppet is referred to, Fat Blue, do a lot of slow burns.
Yeah. My thinking is that I blame a lot of the poor experience on Grover's service.
Yeah.
But, I mean, now that I think about it, though, he's often the only one eating there, if not.
Yeah.
So you don't get an impression that's a real crowd restaurant. But on the other hand, I mean, he does go everywhere else, like you say, and Grover continually screws things up. So
yeah,
I'm inclined to think that Charlie actually runs a good establishment, and he's the one giving Grover the chance.
Right.
And, this Fat Blue is hoping to get his order right because he's heard so many great things about the food.
Right. Maybe if he could just go in the back and talk to Charlie.
Yeah.
Just be like, I want a grilled cheese sandwich,
Yeah.
a slice of cheese, and 2 pieces of bread. That's it.
Yeah.
And Charlie would get it.
Yeah.
Just whip that up and hand it to him.
I'll carry it out myself if I have to.
Right. Just keep me away from that blue guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm blue too, but
Yeah.
Yeah, he was at one point I think in my list, and then I moved him to honorable mention.
Okay. Yes, we have some honorable mentions we
Yeah.
can present later, but
Yeah, so good choice.
thank you.
Well, my number 4 is someone we know and love from Battle of the Network shows, Ms. Edna Garrett.
Ooh. Or should I say,
Yeah. Of course, started on Different Strokes as the housekeeper, and we know she cooked a lot of food to make Arnold feel better, and seemed to be able to make anything.
Yeah.
And then she moved on to The Facts of Life, where she ran the cafeteria.
Oh.
Later ran Edna's Edibles.
Yeah.
And I believe was a dietitian, and seemed to know her stuff. And in the Facts of Life Go to Paris movie, she went to like a French cooking school.
Ah, yes. She's always one for self-improvement.
Yeah.
I respect that.
Had a little romance, made some French food.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
Well, that's an excellent choice. I do remember, I had her as an honorable mention.
Yeah.
I do remember that just the promise of like one of her like ice cream sundaes or something would really alter Arnold's behavior. So
Yes.
that is definitely a big impact that she had in the household. Right. And like you said, at Eastland, impeccable. That's an excellent choice. Can't argue with that. Edna Garrett.
Yeah.
Fine cook. Ready for my number 4?
Yeah.
Okay, my number 4, I had to look up the name of this character. I did not know this. His name is Fred the Baker, apparently. Do you remember Fred the Baker?
From
Time to Make the Donuts.
Oh, yeah.
So from the Dunkin' Donuts commercials that went on for even longer than I remembered, but throughout the 80s growing up, he was a fixture of TV.
Yes.
And this guy is an honorable man that, at ridiculous times, he's getting up to make donuts to serve to, guys like you and me, working guys, just picking up a donut on their way to work. And Fred the Baker is there making them, no matter what the circumstances is. He's Mr. Reliable. So I put him in my list. Big props to Fred.
At some point when I was looking people up, I had looked him up just to see if the commercials were from our period. And then I think I forgot as I moved on to other things. And I mean, he was going to be somewhere in my list. Yes. Maybe an honorable mention, but that's a great choice.
Thank you. He did, the commercials lasted like 14 years or something ridiculous. Like,
here's an interesting thing. In, I would say, the late 90s, I was watching SNL with some friends, and they did a Time to Make the Donuts sketch. And a friend of mine from Los Angeles didn't understand it. They don't have Dunkin' Donuts there.
Oh, really?
They have a lot of independent donut shops.
Wow.
But they don't have Dunkin' Donuts, so he just didn't get it. And everyone else watching was from the East Coast, so we were
interesting
laughing.
Yeah, Dunkin' Donuts, not a thing on the West Coast, huh?
No, I assume they were everywhere.
Oh.
But
well, they're huge in the Massachusetts area in particular.
Yeah.
They're
big in New Jersey too.
Yeah, so the big Northeast thing, and people love the coffee there apparently too.
Apparently, yeah.
I'm not sure how involved Fred was with the coffee back in those days. He's probably just putting a pot on, but
yeah,
his thing with the donuts.
Yeah.
That pick to me is my little tribute to the working man.
That's good.
Fred the Baker.
I worked as a desk clerk at a hotel in Florida for a little while, and our continental breakfast, it was just Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, really?
And part of my job sometimes was to figure out how many donuts we needed to order, if we needed to order any.
That's pretty impressive, actually. I would prefer Dunkin' Donuts to like a stale Bear Claw.
Yeah.
And a juice from concentrate.
I think so. And they gave us, a variety. And after a day or two, we probably should.
Wait a minute. So you didn't get fresh donuts. You would order them ahead of time and keep them.
We would get they'd be fresh for the first day.
They'd be fresh for the
but
first
if we
day.
didn't run
They'd
out,
be out for several days.
Yeah, if they weren't gone, then we'd reuse them for a couple of days, and then.
Well.
And especially in Florida humidity, the glaze.
Interesting.
I won't say the name of the hotel.
You could have
it might be under different management now.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, you could heat them up, and if you had a microwave out, somebody could stick them in there. A stale donut, you can soften up a little bit.
That's true. Yeah.
But there's nothing like a good fresh donut right out of the oven.
Right. Yeah. Now, some friends of the show don't think Dunkin' Donuts are real donuts, but that's a semantic argument.
But Fred he did what he did with what he had. And even though he had a certain weariness, he still showed up every day and did it. That's what I like about him. He wasn't like a
right, and you could taste the labor.
I'll bet at your hotel you could probably taste the labor. I bet it was a real strong taste of labor after 2 or 3 days sitting at it.
Yeah. All right.
You're number three.
My number 3 is actually 2 people.
Ooh.
Well, one's not a person, but Shaggy and Scooby.
Ooh, interesting. I did not even consider them.
Famous for making food.
Wow.
Much like Dagwood, they would sometimes make giant sandwiches. They usually made hoagies, right? No, they would do stacks too.
I'm thinking more of like a long sandwich now that you mention it. They would do both, but the instantly thing that came on would be a big submarine roll.
Yes.
With like food sticking out the ends.
Right.
And like something that they would carry that would go across the whole screen.
Yeah. And of course, a lot of times they didn't get to eat their food.
No.
Like a phantom would show up or something, and
that's a shame.
But they clearly were. They prepared their food, but it's also they were clearly foodies.
Yeah.
Gourmands, maybe.
Yes. Indeed, they were. Wow, that's an interesting choice. I had not even considered that. I thought of them as consumers of food more than preparers of food, but you're totally spot on with that.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the animation and them putting mustard on or whatever.
Yeah. I could see that and dancing around, and I'm more thinking of them running around with one of those big sandwiches.
Yeah.
I kind of would like a big sandwich right about now.
Well,
that's interesting.
Maybe get a big sandwich.
Talking about donuts for 5 minutes didn't make me hungry, but thinking about Scooby-Doo, which was for animated characters, all of a sudden I'm like, hey, I'm getting kind of hungry.
Yeah.
Well, I applaud that choice. They were not on my radar, and they should have been. Good call. We're ready for my number 3.
Yeah.
My number 3 is not only a cook and a chef, but an entrepreneur of sorts.
Ooh.
I'm talking about Big Al Del Vecchio from Happy Days.
Yeah.
Ran his own business, was an affable type, was a good face of the restaurant, and represented well, and made some good food. I don't quite remember any of his signature dishes offhand. I seem to think that one of them must have been chili, because that's usually a famous dish by anybody that cooks for a living or even just as a pastime. I was always a Big Al fan. He was one of my favorite characters on Happy Days, so I had to put him on my list as one of my favorites. He's the man.
Good choice.
Thank you.
And he was the second proprietor, right?
Yes. Well, the timeline was Arnold. Arnold was the other one.
Yeah.
I think it went Arnold, Big Al. No, didn't it go Big Al, Arnold, and then back to Big Al?
Oh, really? Okay.
Something like Huh. I think he left and came back. Well, for a while, he was on Joni Loves Chachi.
Oh, right, yeah.
But I'm not going to hold that against him.
No.
Because he married Chachi's
mom,
yeah.
John Travolta's sister.
Yes. Yeah. You know what? I'm going to put Edna Garrett. No. I'm leaving Big Al at number 3. Big Al Del Vecchio.
Oh, right. Good. Yeah, I think that's a good choice. We're going to move on to...
No duplication so far.
So far, yeah.
I don't think we're going to get through this list without sharing anything.
But. Number 2, who's the first one I thought of when you suggested this for some reason, Chef Tell.
Chef Tell.
A real-life chef, and apparently one of the first TV chefs. And I don't remember much about him. I remember him being kind of a big guy with a mustache. Mm-hmm. He was German. He had an accent. I think he was from Philadelphia, or that's where he started his TV career. But I remember him from the show we've mentioned before, PM Magazine.
Yes.
He was, I assume, one of the parts that was packaged already. And then, of course, the local shows would put in their own stories, too. I do remember him coming on, and maybe not, like, always liking that. Like it interrupted whatever else was going on. That I don't know why I liked that show at all, but I think I do remember like piecing together after a while. Oh, they prepared the dish in advance, and that's how he can pull it out of the oven immediately.
Right,
but
the trick of the trade.
Yeah, but Wikipedia article said that some people suggest the Swedish Chef was based on him, but Jim Henson's son has denied that.
I don't know if I really see that.
I guess because he had an accent.
Yeah, that to me...
And was on TV. I don't know.
Yeah. I had Chef Tell as actually one of my honorable mentions. I remember PM Magazine, and to me, he was one of the first TV chefs I was aware of, and I think that's an excellent pick, and I think he's kind of forgotten now, but you had Julia Child, and there's a lot of maybe some other ones will come up later, but there were other chefs in the 80s, but to me, he was pretty influential as a TV chef. He did a lot of commercials.
That's right.
He was very famous back in the 80s. So.
And I'm sure he was on all the talk shows and things.
Yeah, I think he was kind of like a spokesman. I mean, before Food Network, before that whole celebrity chef culture became as big as it is now.
Yeah.
Now you take it for granted that everybody has a show on Food Network. You've got celebrities becoming chefs, chefs becoming celebrities, but Chef Tell was pretty unique back in the day, and there weren't a lot other people like him, especially on like broadcast stations and syndicated stations. So
yeah,
Chef Tell, he was the man.
All
right. My number 2, talking about shows that have come up here on our podcast, got to go with one of the big ones here, and that is Jack Tripper.
Ah, yeah.
Now, I like the character Jack Tripper. As a chef, he was a little bit more highbrow than what I was used to. He was he was French. He was a little food snob.
Yeah.
Now I think in the first episode he whips some stuff up, like a kind of a fancy dish out of like all the ingredients that the Janet and Chrissy have in their kitchen, and then but he studied, he got a job with Mr. Angelino, and then he eventually owned his own restaurant. Really kind of an embodiment of the American dream. But along the way he always had his culinary skills. Sometimes he got into some real messes, but he retained his cooking skills even while chasing the ladies, going through all the zany situations that happen in the house with different landlords. He was always a good chef, and his character was very consistent through the run. I was a big Jack Tripper fan, so he is my number 2 Jack Tripper. Could have been number 1.
That's a good choice. My number 1, who I inadvertently mentioned in my number 2, the Swedish Chef.
Wow.
From The Muppet Show. He, of course, was not a very good chef, but, very entertaining. If you don't know the Swedish Chef, he's Swedish. Mm-hmm. He's a chef. He's a Muppet.
Yes.
One of the interesting things is that I believe Jim Henson and Frank Oz were puppeteering him together, and one or both of their real hands would come out and be doing all this stuff with food. And it seemed like maybe they couldn't entirely see what they were doing. And there's a lot of comedy from that. Yep. Throwing a lot of ingredients, blowing things up. Speaking in a sort of pidgin Swedish.
Yeah, definitely kept the running commentary.
Yeah, great mustache.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a Swedish chef. He's awesome.
He's certainly one of the stand-up Muppet characters, and for many kids, I mean, I talked about Chef Tell being my first exposure to it, but I wasn't really normal.
Right.
Probably for most it would be the Swedish Chef.
Yeah.
That's a great choice. I can't argue with him. He was something else. He's still a character that I enjoy watching again now.
Yeah.
He's timeless.
Yes.
And I'm very happy because we did not work this out, but we had no duplications. We had some honorable mention crossovers, but my number 1 is a totally different name. I was surprised. I thought I was going to be surprised that we would leave Swedish Chef off on, but I was wrong. He was number 1, so he's certainly not left out. Are you ready for my number 1?
I have a feeling I know who it is.
I think you're right, too. Number 1 is the great Mel Sharples.
Yeah.
Mel Sharples, yes. Played by Dick Tayback. He himself had famous chili. Despite there being many sarcastic comments about his cooking, he always had a full diner. Mm-hmm. Out in that Arizona desert, he got people to come in and eat chili.
Yeah.
He did very well with chili in at least several episodes. It was touted as a desirable dish. I don't like chili, I got to be honest.
I don't either.
But I can imagine going into Mel's diner, and I'll bet like if he puts a cheeseburger or something, or just something simple, like I'll bet it would be really good.
Yep, some
eggs.
It
would be delicious. Yeah. Oh, going into Mel's for breakfast.
Yeah.
Some bacon and eggs. Oh man,
sure, his waitresses said his food was terrible all the time.
Yeah.
But those other guys were sitting at the counter all the time. Eating there.
They kept coming back, and in fairness, Mel said his waitresses were terrible. So
that's right. It was a running. Yeah.
Yeah. So he probably learned in the Navy. He probably learned some of that good Navy cooking.
I think he probably did. I worked with some people that learned in the Navy.
Well, you got to be resourceful in those kind of situations sometimes, and I think Mel learned his lessons. And plus, he looked the part. Oh, yeah. I mean, to me, that's how a cook should look. A little cap, preferably a plain white T-shirt, with some stains on it here and there. I don't really care what's on his clothes so much as what's in the food, and I think he kept a relatively clean restaurant, all things considered.
Right. Yeah, classic TV character.
Yeah, he's great, and he's a character that you see. I like him for this list. I liked him and chose him because he is. There's no doubt that he's a chef. He's always back there cooking. It's an essential part. He's often holding a spatula. As I recall, he dinged that little bell with his spatula, which probably wasn't really good sanitary. Now that I think about it, but maybe he had one spatula for flipping things and one spatula for ringing that bell. Let's go with that.
This is my dinging.
Yeah.
Hey, dingy. This is my dinging spatula.
Well, he was very possessive of his spatula too. So maybe he had multiple ones. But Mel Sharples. The only thing I didn't really like about Mel Sharples was his super possessive mother, who I think was Martha Ray. She was an annoying character, and Mel always came through for everybody else when the chips are down. And someday I hope we can talk about Mel Sharples even more. So I'm gonna leave it at that. But Mel, congratulations for being my number one chef.
Congratulations, Mel, and everyone. And let's just really quickly go through the honorable mentions.
Sure.
So
let me see. I've got 4 honorable mentions that we didn't already name.
I've got 3 that we didn't name, and Charlie.
Okay.
So, my 3? 2 of them are from cereal commercials. Ooh. Actually, 4 of them, because one is the Cinnamon Toast Crunch Bakers.
Ooh.
There were 3 of those. I watched some YouTube clips of them. They're entertaining.
Did you eat that cereal as a kid?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
When my mom let me. I'm a big fan of Cinnamon Toast in real life, so cereal form.
Nice.
And and that was much more successful translation of flavor than like Cookie Crisp. The other one is, I hope this is Snap from the Rice Krispies.
Ooh. Okay.
He was like a baker, right?
Yeah. He's got the hat and everything.
Yeah. I don't think he was my favorite. I think I liked Pop the best. But, because I think I had like a little, like a rubber, think about that.
Oh.
I don't know. A toy.
Okay,
and I think
cool.
my brother had a Crackle.
Wow.
We didn't have a Snap.
I would have loved to have had one of those as a kid. Didn't have any of those.
Those are pretty neat. And then my other one is the Cajun Chef. Who I learned first.
Cooking Cajun?
Yeah.
Justin Wilson,
yeah.
He was on my honorable mention list.
I saw him first from like those commercials he did for some product. It wasn't. I think that's what made him more nationally known.
He did Ruffles.
Yes, Ruffles.
That's what I remembered him from a lot.
I guess it was Ruffles, and I just remember like him saying, au gratin.
Oh.
I don't know if that was did they have Ruffles au gratin?
They very well might have.
Yeah.
They had some kind of Cajun spice Ruffles that he did those for years, I think. Yeah, I watched him on.
I think that au gratin might have been some other.
Yeah.
Some microwave dinner.
Oh, he was very big. He was on PBS. I remember the whole Cooking Cajun. I think he had multiple shows on PBS, and I could really never remember or never figure out what he was saying.
Right.
Like I think I understood the Swedish Chef better than I did Justin Wilson, but I had him on my list. He was a very distinctive character, and I seem to remember him. He was on talk shows, and he was a big celebrity himself and a brand.
Yeah.
So the Cooking Cajun, yes, he was on my list as well. So that's your honorable mentions.
Yep.
Okay, I'll mention mine quickly. Kind of on the edge of our time frame, but Alice Nelson from the Brady Bunch. Really dependent on the quality of meat she got from Sam the Butcher.
Right.
I'm not sure exactly how great a cook she was, but to come up with meals for, even with help from Mrs. Brady, she's cooking for 8 people.
Or 9 if.
So yeah.
She's including herself.
Credit for her. She's got to stretch. That's a lot of stretching the gravy and stuff to make those meals have an impact. So big ups to her. Chef Brockett.
Oh yeah.
From Mr. Rogers. I'd kind of forgotten about him, to be honest, until recently, but I kind of remember him now. There's this big lumbering oaf kind of character.
Yeah, piece of work.
But
really, just
it's a piece of work.
Shushing people.
Yeah.
I don't know if he always did that, but I saw him recently shushing some people and getting a little sad when the king didn't eat his cake.
Yeah, he's a little volatile.
Yeah.
But Chef Brockett was somebody that I liked as a kid. And last is Dan Aykroyd as Julia Child on Saturday Night Live. Another Saturday Night Live appearance, but one of the more memorable skits, obviously, over-the-top portrayal of Julia Child with blood going everywhere and mishaps happen in the kitchen. But
right.
a memorable one didn't make my list, but deserves a spot as an honorable mention, I think.
I'll throw in one more honorable mention. David Letterman in a cooking segment.
That's always gold.
Yeah.
Always gold.
Usually the same gold, but it's always funny.
Yeah. Just taking the swig out of the cooking sherry or brandy. Whatever.
Pretending to cut his finger off.
Yep. Well, the fact that it's funny every time is
and they usually don't have time to finish the thing.
Yeah.
Cook being harried. Well, he's goofing off.
Yeah. Well.
Wow.
That's a good addition. I think a great list. We named a lot of the icons of TV history and some surprising names, I think.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to hear if there's anybody we left off, because I think that's a pretty comprehensive list.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be. But
if I do say so myself, I think I feel pretty good about our rankings there. I think they're.
Yeah.
I'd stack those up against anybody.
Yeah, let's go eat.
Yeah. Join us next time for another exciting episode of Battle of the Network Shows. Learn more, leave feedback, and suggest future episodes at battleofthenetworkshows.com. Follow us on Twitter at BatNetShows, and like our Facebook page, facebook.com/Battle of the Network Shows.